Nicki Minaj doesn't live randomly. Every part of her life is controlled by design, not because she wants to be distant, not because she's difficult, but because at her level, chaos is dangerous. When people think of Nicki Minaj, they picture the lights, the colors, the stage, and the confidence. What they don't see is the structure behind it all. Because fame didn't give Nicki Minaj freedom. It gave her responsibility. Responsibility to protect her time, her energy, her privacy, and eventually, her peace. This is not a story about glamour. This is the private lifestyle system that keeps her functioning at the top when the cameras are off. Nicki Minaj's life is not built around excitement. It's built around control. At a certain level of fame, unpredictability becomes the enemy. So routine becomes survival. Her mornings are not chaotic. They are intentional. No rushed schedules. No unnecessary appearances. No randomness. Even rest is planned. Because when millions of people want access to you, everything becomes a transaction, including your time. This is why her daily life follows a rhythm most people would find boring. And that's exactly why it works. Nicki Minaj doesn't rely on motivation. She relies on systems. Her mornings are quiet by design, not because she's lazy, but because silence is rare when you live under constant noise. No public-facing obligations early in the day. No impulsive decisions. No open access. This time is reserved for grounding, mentally and emotionally. Because before she became an icon, she was someone who learned the hard way what exhaustion does to creativity. And once you reach the top, burnout doesn't just cost you energy. It costs you relevance. Contrary to what people assume, Nicki Minaj is not always working. She works in bursts, highly focused, highly protected, highly controlled. Studio sessions are not social events. They are zones. Phones are limited. Access is restricted. Time is structured. Because creativity doesn't thrive in chaos, it thrives in safety. And at her level, safety is intentional. People often ask the same question: why does Nicki Minaj disappear? The answer is simple: because exposure has a cost. Every appearance drains energy. Every interaction takes something. So she withdraws, not to hide, but to recharge. Fame taught her something most people learn too late. You cannot be available to everyone and still belong to yourself. Luxury looks effortless from the outside, but maintaining it is anything but. Nicki Minaj's lifestyle is not just expensive because of what she owns. It's expensive because of what she must maintain. Privacy is not free. Security is not optional. Comfort requires infrastructure. At her level, even normal activities require planning. A simple outing isn't simple anymore. It's logistics. For most people, security is a reaction. For Nicki Minaj, it's a constant. Security is layered, predictable, invisible when done correctly, and it follows her everywhere. Not because she's paranoid, but because visibility attracts risk. The higher you rise, the more you must protect what's beneath you. Behind every calm moment is a team. Managers, assistants, stylists, security, legal advisors. These are not luxuries. They are necessities. Because when your brand is you, mistakes become expensive, and silence becomes strategic. The lifestyle looks glamorous, but it runs like a corporation. Money can be replaced. Time cannot. Nicki Minaj structures her life around minimizing time leaks. No unnecessary meetings. No casual commitments. No emotional freeloaders. Because at her level, distraction is the fastest way to lose control. This is where the lifestyle becomes misunderstood. People confuse privacy with secrecy, boundaries with arrogance. But fame teaches you something harsh. Everyone wants access, few want responsibility. Relationships are harder when the world is watching. Every argument becomes speculation. Every silence becomes a headline. This is why Nicki Minaj guards her personal life fiercely. Not because she has something to hide, but because some things survive only in private. Love does not need an audience. Despite the fame, family remains grounding. Not as a public image, but as a reminder of who she was before the noise. Because when the applause stops, identity matters. And fame has a way of eroding it. Nicki Minaj doesn't lack friends. She limits access. Because loyalty is rare when opportunity is everywhere. At her level, people don't just show up as people. They show up with expectations. And expectations destroy peace. Fame promises freedom, but what it really gives you is responsibility. Responsibility to protect yourself from the very thing you worked so hard to achieve. Nicki Minaj didn't build this lifestyle to impress anyone. She built it to survive. There's a part of fame nobody prepares you for. Not the hate, not the criticism, not even the pressure. It's the loss of normalcy. Nicki Minaj can't blend into crowds. She can't move unnoticed. She can't experience things casually. Everywhere she goes, she is seen. And being constantly seen changes how you think. At first, fame feels validating. People recognize you. They admire you. They want to be near you. But over time, that attention rewires your brain. You start to notice everything. Who's watching? Who's listening? Who's recording? Who's smiling too much? Nothing is neutral anymore. Even silence has meaning. So you adapt. You speak less. You reveal less. You protect more. Not because you're cold, but because being open becomes expensive. One of the quiet costs of fame is trust. When money, influence, and access surround you, intentions blur. Is someone here because they care, or because being close benefits them? Nicki Minaj learned early that trust must be earned slowly. That's why her circle didn't expand with her fame. It shrank, because peace comes from knowing exactly who has access to you, and why. In a world where everyone expects commentary, silence becomes control. Nicki Minaj doesn't respond to everything. She doesn't explain herself to everyone. And she doesn't live publicly just to satisfy curiosity. Silence protects energy. Silence filters noise. Silence keeps you from being pulled into battles that don't matter. At her level, reacting is optional, but restraint is essential. Success doesn't just change your environment. It changes you. The goals that once motivated you lose their meaning once achieved. The hunger shifts. The question becomes, who am I now that I've already won? For Nicki Minaj, fame didn't erase identity. It forced her to redefine it. Early in her career, the focus was ascent. More music, more recognition, more impact. But after reaching the top, the focus changed. It wasn't about getting more. It was about keeping what mattered. Mental clarity, creative control, emotional stability. At a certain level, growth stops being vertical. It becomes internal. Staying the same too long is dangerous in the spotlight. So Nicki Minaj learned how to evolve, not just musically, but personally. Reinvention isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, changing routines, reducing access, reprioritizing health. Because longevity in fame isn't about being loud. It's about being sustainable. Every new project carries history. People don't just hear the music, they compare it to the past, to the peak, to the legend they already believe you are. And that weight never fully disappears. So you learn to create for yourself first. Because chasing approval is the fastest way to lose joy. From the outside, the lifestyle looks distant, private, controlled, guarded. But what most people mistake for arrogance is actually self-preservation. Nicki Minaj didn't withdraw from the world. She narrowed it. Because unlimited access destroys focus. And focus is the foundation of everything she built. There is no off switch. Even at home, awareness remains. Even in rest, the mind stays alert. So routines become anchors. Boundaries become shields. Privacy becomes currency. Not because she's afraid of people, but because she values peace. Ironically, the biggest luxury isn't cars or houses. It's anonymity, being able to move freely, to exist without expectation, to make mistakes without consequences. That's what fame quietly takes. And that's why simplicity becomes valuable again. Nicki Minaj didn't build this lifestyle to feel superior. She built it to stay sane. Because success amplifies everything. The good, the bad, the pressure, the loneliness. And without structure, it consumes you. Fame gives you the world, but it asks for boundaries in return. Not everyone is meant for this life. Not because they can't handle success, but because they don't realize what success demands. There's a moment that comes quietly. No announcement, no headline, no dramatic shift, just a realization that the higher you climb, the fewer people can actually relate to your life. Nicki Minaj didn't lose people all at once. She outgrew shared experiences. At a certain level of success, conversations become filtered. You stop talking freely about strays because people assume money erased it. You stop sharing fears because strength is expected. You stop explaining exhaustion because privilege is assumed. So you learn to internalize. Not because you want to be alone, crowds surround her constantly. Teams, fans, industry figures. Yet emotional solitude can still exist in full rooms. Because proximity doesn't equal connection. And fame attracts attention, not understanding. This is why solitude becomes intentional. Not as an escape, but as balance. Nicki Minaj learned something most people don't realize until much later. Emotional discipline is survival. Not reacting to everything. Not absorbing every opinion. Not letting external noise dictate internal peace. Because when millions have access to your image, protecting your mind becomes essential. People often think power looks loud, but real power is quiet. It's being able to say no, to disappear, to move on your own schedule. Nicki Minaj's lifestyle is designed around autonomy, not attention. Money buys things. Access buys influence. Nicki Minaj controls access tightly. Not everyone gets a response. Not everyone gets proximity. Not everyone gets explanations. Because once access becomes unlimited, value disappears, and boundaries collapse. Visibility is being seen everywhere. Presence is choosing where you matter. Nicki Minaj doesn't need constant visibility. Her presence is felt, even in absence. That's not accidental. That's strategy. There are battles she doesn't fight, arguments she doesn't address, moments she lets pass. Not because she's unaware, but because peace is more valuable than proving a point. At the top, restraint becomes strength. Here's the truth most people avoid. Success doesn't simplify life. It complicates it. It multiplies choices, amplifies consequences, and magnifies pressure. Nicki Minaj's lifestyle isn't about indulgence. It's about management. Managing time, managing energy, managing exposure. Because without control, success becomes overwhelming. Freedom at the bottom looks different than freedom at the top. At the beginning, freedom is doing whatever you want. At the top, freedom is choosing carefully what you attend, what you say, who you trust. Discipline doesn't limit her life. It protects it. Fame offers rewards, but it also demands trade-offs. Privacy for recognition, simplicity for opportunity, normalcy for influence. Nicki Minaj accepted that trade consciously. That's why her lifestyle works. Nicki Minaj isn't distant. She's deliberate. Her lifestyle isn't cold. It's structured. Every routine, every boundary, every disappearance. They're not signs of detachment. They're signs of adaptation. Because success doesn't come with instructions. You build your own survival manual. Fame doesn't change who you are. It reveals what you can tolerate. Some people collapse under attention. Others learn how to contain it. Nicki Minaj chose containment. The world sees the performances, the confidence, the image. But behind it all is a system. Quiet, intentional, protective. Because living at the top isn't about having more. It's about losing less of yourself along the way. And that's the part of success most people never prepare for. Imagine waking up every day knowing the world is watching, waiting for you to slip. The haters are lurking, the industry is cutthroat, and your past traumas could pull you under at any moment. But you rise, stronger, sharper, unbreakable. That's not just a mindset, that's survival. And no one embodies it like the queen of rap herself, Nicki Minaj. From the gritty streets of Queens to the top of the charts, Nicki's daily life isn't about luxury yachts and diamond drips, though she's got plenty of those. No, it's a calculated regimen built for one thing: enduring, thriving, and conquering in a world that's tried to break her time and time again. To understand why Nicki is always locked and loaded, you have to understand the house she grew up in. This isn't just started from the bottom fluff. This is about psychological imprinting. Annika's father struggled with drug addiction. She has publicly recounted stories of him selling the family's furniture to fund a habit and, most chillingly, setting their house on fire while her mother was still inside. The survival lesson. If the person meant to protect you is the person you have to survive, you learn one thing very early: hypervigilance. This is why, in 2025, Nicki doesn't ignore the hate. She hunts it. In the mind of a survivor, an unchecked small threat eventually becomes a fire that burns the house down. When she goes on an X rant at 3 a.m., she isn't crashing out. In her mind, she's patrolling the perimeter. Between 2010 and 2017, Nicki Minaj wasn't just the queen of rap. She was the only woman allowed in the room. This created a Highlander complex. There could be only one. But survival in the industry required a different kind of armor. She didn't just have to be better than the women. She had to be more alpha than the men. Watch any interview from the Pink Friday era. She's poised, Barbie-fied, and polite. Now, look at her today. The mask is gone. Why? Because the industry she survived tried to replace her. Multiple times. From the Barty Gang era to the rise of the new generation, Nicki saw the machinery of the labels trying to manufacture the next Nicki. For most, this would be a time to retire to a vineyard. For Annika, it was a declaration of war. Her daily life became about legacy defense. Every feature, every verse, every Gag City post is a reminder that the throne isn't vacant. It's occupied by a woman who survived a decade of being the only target in the shooting gallery. At home, she's up around 6 or 7 a.m., earlier if she's prepping for a tour studio session. First stop, family time. As a mom to her son, affectionately called Papa Bear, born in 2020, Nicki prioritizes those quiet moments before the world intrudes. In a Vogue interview, she opened up about motherhood. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's also the most rewarding. Picture this. Nicki in her Calabasas mansion, sipping herbal tea. She's cut back on caffeine for health, checking on her little one. No nannies hogging the spotlight here. She's hands-on, reading books or playing games. Why survival? Postpartum hit her hard. She dealt with anxiety and body changes, but she turned it into strength. I experienced addiction after being prescribed Percocet for cramps, she revealed. Kicking that. Pure grit. Her morning ritual includes gratitude journaling or affirmations. I'm the queen, and no one can take that. To armor her mind against the daily barrage of online trolls and media scrutiny. There you have it, Nicki Minaj's daily blueprint for survival. If this fired you up, smash like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Drop your thoughts. What part of her survival routine are you stealing? Let us know in the comments.